Beloved soul, let the noise around you soften for a moment. Something in the atmosphere has been circling your life since dawn, a quiet pull that your spirit recognized long before your mind searched for meaning. You did not arrive here by wandering. You were guided here by a divine intention that has been unfolding behind the veil of your days, and heaven is urging you to listen now with the depth of your being. Chosen one, there is a stirring in your chest that you cannot explain, a holy pressure rising like dawn against the horizon of your life. God is saying, this is bigger than you realize. What surrounds you is not coincidence. It is convergence. It is the unseen aligning with the seen, the quiet echo of destiny alignment working its way into your waking world. And even now, the Spirit whispers that what has felt heavy on your shoulders is not a burden, but an awakening. Pause here. Breathe slowly. Let your heart settle into this moment. Because the word reaching for you right now is not ordinary guidance. It is a revelation meant to shift the landscape of your story. The Most High has watched every step you've taken in silence, every moment you questioned your worth, every time you wondered if your breakthrough season was ever going to arrive. But hear this with clarity. Heaven has already moved on your behalf. There have been nights when you lay awake, feeling like the weight of life pressed too tightly on your ribcage. You thought it was stress or exhaustion, but beloved, it was preparation. It was the first tremor of spiritual awakening rising within you. You prayed for strength, and God answered by stretching capacity. You asked for clarity, and God responded by shaking foundations that could not hold your next chapter. You wondered why your relationships felt unstable, why your plans felt delayed, why certain doors refused to open. And heaven gently says, because the promise over your life required a different frame, a deeper well, a refined vessel. Hear the word of the Lord in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. This is not a verse you're meant to skim over today. This is the architecture of your moment, the blueprint of what God has been building beneath the surface. The stretching, the lonely seasons, the unexpected disappointments. They were not signs of abandonment, they were signs of construction. Beloved soul, you are stepping into a realm where abundance no longer feels distant, where emotional healing is not a concept, but a lived reality. God is aligning your steps, refining your instincts, awakening your discernment, not to overwhelm you, but to elevate you. Because what is coming will require a wealth mindset rooted not in greed, but in gratitude, not in striving, but in surrender. What is unfolding now is your divine purpose beginning to reveal itself piece by piece, light by light. And chosen one, listen. You need to hear this clearly. The shift around you is not small. The Spirit is enlarging your capacity because you are being positioned for something that surpasses what you imagined when you prayed those quiet midnight prayers. This season is not simply about survival. It is about transformation. Personal transformation that will ripple through every corner of your life until even your reflection feels renewed by glory. But before we go deeper, before this revelation takes you into the heart of what heaven has prepared, I want to invite you, if this word is already stirring something sacred inside you, to subscribe, like and share this message. Not for numbers, not for routine, but because when truth reaches you like this, it may be the very lifeline someone else has been praying for. Your engagement becomes a seed that heaven can multiply into someone else's awakening. Now, chosen one, stay close. Do not drift, because what God is about to reveal next will explain the pressure you've been under, the shifts you've been sensing, and the undeniable pull that led you here today. Something holy is rising, something ancient is unfolding, and your spirit is already responding. Chosen one, the unrest that has been echoing through your days is not a sign of collapse. It is the first vibration of a divine shift. Something in the unseen has already begun to rearrange itself around your life, and heaven has been watching you rise through storms that were meant to break your spirit. What you felt as pressure was actually the weight of destiny alignment settling into place, shaping you for a season that demands deeper strength, sharper sight, and a spirit awakened to purpose. For too long, you've mistaken the silence of God for absence. But beloved soul, silence has never meant distance. Silence is where God sharpens his instruments. Silence is where he refines his chosen. And you have been in the forge of heaven. Every moment you walked through loneliness, wondering if anyone saw your tears. Every season where financial stability seemed just out of reach. Every betrayal that carved a hollow in your chest. None of it was wasted. Every wound became a doorway. Every delay became a hallway, and heaven has been preparing you for an elevation that can only rest on someone who has survived the weight of becoming. Think back to those nights when sleep would not come, when your spirit felt like it was pacing inside your body, when numbers like 7, 7, 7, or 8 seemed to appear in places too specific to ignore. You dismissed it as coincidence, but in truth, these were codes. Not earthly codes, but spiritual signals, messages that your breakthrough season had already been authorized. When you woke between 2 and 4 a.m., it wasn't restlessness. It was heaven calling you into alignment, a tug on your soul reminding you that your story was entering divine timing. Chosen one, God says this is bigger than you realize. The battles you fought were never about the present. They were about the future he has written for you. You've been walking through chapters that felt heavy because you were carrying the beginnings of abundance, still in seed form. The soil had to be turned, the ground had to be broken, your heart had to be softened through emotional healing, so the blessing could take root without being choked by old fears. Look at the story of Joseph in Genesis 41:14. He was pulled from prison, not because of luck, not because he pushed his way forward, but because divine purpose summoned him. His suffering was not a punishment. It was positioning. And like Joseph, your setbacks have been stages for your rise. The rejection you faced wasn't rejection. It was redirection. The opportunities that slipped from your hands were not failures. They were prevention, because God refused to let you build your future on foundations not intended to carry the weight of your calling. You have wondered why people drifted away, why relationships shifted, why familiar spaces suddenly felt foreign. Hear this clearly. Your spirit has outgrown what your environment could no longer sustain. Some connections were removed, not because they were evil, but because they were small. They could not comprehend the magnitude of the divine purpose unfolding within you. This is why heaven allowed certain doors to close gently, without noise. Because elevation requires solitude, not isolation, but refinement. Beloved soul, you didn't lose people. You shed layers. And God saw the quiet way you kept loving even when your heart felt bruised. He watched you give even when you barely had enough for yourself. He saw you rise again after disappointments that would have broken a lesser heart. Heaven recorded every whisper of faith you uttered through trembling lips. And now the atmosphere around your life is shifting, thickening with divine intention, because your appointed moment is drawing near. Stay here. Stay listening. Because what I'm about to speak next will reveal why your path felt so heavy, why the enemy fought so fiercely, and why heaven is moving with such urgency in your direction. Chosen one, as you move deeper into this moment, let your spirit lean in, because what is unfolding around your life is not random motion. It is orchestration. It is the deliberate rearranging of heaven's blueprint to bring you into alignment with what was written for you long before the weight of the world ever touched your shoulders. There is a reason your journey has felt like a series of closed doors followed by unexpected whispers of hope. It is because you are being led, not pushed. You are being shaped, not shattered. There were seasons when you felt like the ground beneath you was shifting faster than you could find your footing. Jobs became uncertain. Friendships felt unstable. Your sense of direction grew blurry. You questioned yourself. You questioned your faith. You questioned whether you had somehow veered off the path God prepared for you. But beloved soul, hear this clearly. You were never off course. You were being rerouted into destiny alignment. The detours were not delays. They were protections. The confusion was not punishment. It was stripping away the noise so you could hear the voice of God again. Think of Abraham in Genesis 12:1, called away from everything familiar into a land he had never seen. There was no map, no clear path, no certainty except God's voice, and yet the unknown became the doorway to promise. In the same way, the unfamiliar spaces you've been pushed into are not signs of loss. They are signs of divine preparation. When God transitions His chosen ones, He often disrupts the very ground they stand on, so their next steps are planted in faith rather than fear. You, chosen one, have been walking through that sacred disruption. Do you remember the moments when your heart felt strangely heavy, as though something in the air around you was shifting even though nothing in your life looked different on the surface? That was spiritual awakening pressing against the edges of your awareness. Heaven was loosening what no longer aligned with your calling, gently but firmly pushing you into a higher landscape. And the friction you felt inside your spirit was not resistance, it was transformation announcing itself. There is a reason your discernment has grown sharper, a reason you can no longer tolerate environments that drain you, a reason certain conversations suddenly feel hollow, even when the words sound the same. God has been tuning your inner ear so you can hear instruction without mistaking it for interruption. Beloved, the sensitivity you've been feeling is not weakness. It is evidence that your spirit is rising into maturity, that the mantle over your life is growing heavier, not to crush you, but to crown you. And chosen one, there is something else heaven wants you to understand. The financial strain you've been navigating was not a verdict against you. It was training. God has been shaping you into someone who carries a wealth mindset without becoming enslaved by scarcity or fear. You have been learning how to trust provision even when the numbers didn't make sense, how to hold on to hope even when your resources felt thin, and how to steward faith when your pockets felt empty. This was not lack, it was pruning. And the same God who allowed the pruning is preparing the harvest, the relationships that dissolved, the accusations whispered behind your back, the seasons where you felt like the enemy was tightening his grip. Beloved, those were not moments of defeat. They were moments of exposure. God was revealing who could walk with you into your next chapter and who could not. Some people were removed because they were not equipped to handle your elevation. Others drifted because their assignment in your story had ended. And though the loss felt painful, heaven shielded you from connections that would have corrupted the abundance forming around you. Think again of Joseph, rising from the depths of betrayal into the palace of purpose. His suffering was not wasted. It refined him. His betrayal did not break him. It revealed the strength he didn't know he carried. And chosen one, the same is true of you. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every silent battle you fought behind closed doors has been constructing a deeper capacity within you. Not for survival, but for influence. Not for endurance, but for elevation. Even now, your steps are being ordered with precision. Psalm 37:23 declares, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." Your path is not random. Your timing is not accidental. Your story is not fragile. Heaven has anchored you to a purpose too strong to be undone by circumstances. And the stirring you feel is the sign that what God promised is pressing against the threshold of your life, waiting for your readiness, waiting for your agreement, waiting for the moment your spirit recognizes that nothing has been lost, only rearranged. Chosen one, stay with me. There is more you must hear. because what comes next will uncover why the enemy targeted you, why heaven protected you, and why the next movement of your life will shift everything you thought you understood about your calling. Chosen one. The deeper we go, the clearer it becomes that the forces shaping your path have been working long before you recognized their movement. What you called instability was, in truth, the loosening of chains you were never meant to carry into your next season. Heaven has been removing what was too small for the magnitude of your becoming, peeling away layers that hid your radiance, clearing the fog around your identity so you could finally see the truth of who you are. There were moments when your heart felt stretched in ways you couldn't explain. You mistook the ache for brokenness, but beloved soul, it was expansion. God was enlarging your inner capacity because the blessing assigned to your name required a deeper well. You prayed for elevation, and heaven answered by refining your foundation. You asked for clarity, and heaven responded by removing everything that blurred your sight. You sought purpose, and heaven guided you through places that felt empty so you could recognize fullness when it arrived. Many nights, you felt the pull, an unspoken tension between who you were and who you were becoming. You thought it was anxiety. But chosen one, that was transition. Spiritual transitions rarely announce themselves with comfort. They arrive with restlessness that pushes you to ask questions you once avoided. Why am I here? Why does this no longer fit? Why do I feel called towards something I can't name yet? These weren't signs of confusion. They were signals of destiny alignment, reshaping your inner landscape, drawing you into the truth of your divine purpose. Even the loneliness you walked through had a holy assignment. You weren't being isolated. You were being sanctified. There are seasons when heaven must quiet every voice around you so you can finally hear the voice within you, the one God placed there before your first breath. In those silent nights when you felt unseen, you were actually being examined, strengthened, prepared. Emotional healing was taking place where no one else could witness it. Abundance was germinating in soil no one else could touch. Your breakthrough season was forming in the deep places where your tears fell unnoticed. Hear this with the fullness of your spirit. You were never abandoned. You were being transformed. Think about Ruth in the fields of gleaning, gathering remnants while believing her story had ended. She did not know that every humble step was leading her toward destiny, that every unseen moment was positioning her for redemption. And like Ruth, you walked through seasons that felt beneath your potential, wondering if God had forgotten the promise he whispered. But beloved, the promise was never lost. It was maturing. You were being positioned in a place where heaven could find you ready. Your resilience did not go unnoticed. The way you held on during storms, the way you kept faith alive even when your world felt dim, the way you refused to let bitterness take root. Heaven saw your endurance. Heaven recorded your sacrifice. Heaven honored your tears. And now, in this sacred stretch of time, things that were once buried are beginning to ascend toward the light. Chosen one, something holy is unfolding beneath the surface of your days. You've begun to sense it. A subtle shift in conversations, a sudden clarity in decisions, a growing distaste for environments that no longer reflect who you are becoming. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual awareness awakening inside you, shaking off the dust of old versions and calling you forward. When God prepares a chosen one, He changes their appetite before He changes their environment. He shifts the inner world before the outer world follows. This is why certain opportunities no longer excite you, why some familiar spaces now feel too tight, why the future feels closer than your past. You are moving into a chapter that can no longer be defined by what once limited you. Heaven is elevating you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, before the physical manifestation appears. The inner shift always precedes the outer breakthrough. Think of Joseph again. Not the coat of many colors, not the betrayal, not even the palace, but the moment in the prison when he chose interpretation over despair. When he used the gift God gave him even in a place he did not choose, that choice became the doorway to everything written about him. And like Joseph, you are standing in a moment where heaven sees your faithfulness in the dark, where your consistency in quiet places is unlocking something massive in the unseen realm. Chosen one, the resistance you've faced lately hasn't been random. It has been confirmation. The enemy does not wage war where there is no threat. He does not attack what heaven has not appointed. The intensity of your recent battles is proof of the magnitude of what is approaching. You are not being crushed. You are being carved. You are not being diminished. You are being defined. And beloved soul, pay attention to this truth. Spiritual pressure always signals a divine shift. The more the squeeze, the closer the release. This is why you felt stretched emotionally, financially, relationally. Heaven is not taking from you. Heaven is clearing space within you. What is coming requires room your old burdens could not share. You are stepping into a realm where divine purpose and abundance will intertwine, where elevation is no longer a dream, but a reality pressing against your horizon. Stay present. Stay listening. Because what heaven is about to unveil next will explain why the path behind you felt so heavy, why the circles around you changed, and why the promise over your life is awakening with urgency. Chosen one, as your spirit leans further into this unfolding, you may begin to notice that the atmosphere around your life has been shifting in ways too precise to ignore. Patterns that once repeated without mercy are suddenly losing their power. Cycles that trapped you for years are beginning to crack. Even your thoughts have started moving in a new rhythm, a rhythm that is not fueled by fear, but by quiet conviction. This is the evidence of a divine reset taking place inside you. For a long time, you believed you were fighting battles alone. But beloved, heaven has been actively rearranging the spiritual architecture around your life. What felt like chaos was actually construction. What seemed like loss was recalibration. And what looked like abandonment was God removing you from places that could not contain your next dimension. You have been in a sacred transition, even when it felt like a breakdown. Think about the moments when conversations with certain people suddenly felt out of alignment. Words that once comforted you now felt weightless. Plans that once excited you now felt hollow. Your spirit wasn't rejecting people, it was outgrowing them. When God elevates you, He does not always announce the shift. He changes what your soul can tolerate. A chosen one cannot stay where their spirit no longer has room to expand. And you, chosen one, have been expanding rapidly. This is why your heart has been hungering for something deeper, something real, something spiritually grounded. The superficial no longer satisfies you. Shallow intentions no longer impress you. Familiarity no longer comforts you, because heaven has been stretching your capacity to hold more light, more clarity, more purpose. This is the early phase of abundance, not in material gain, but in spiritual expansion. Before God pours into your hands, He pours into your inner world. Before you carry blessing externally, you must be enlarged internally. This is why the emotional storms you walked through felt so intense. They were not punishments, they were purifications. Emotional healing has been taking place layer by layer, sometimes through tears you didn't want to shed, sometimes through silence you didn't understand. But beloved soul, God was removing the residue of everything that tried to shrink your identity. You were being cleansed of the voices that told you you were small, the memories that convinced you you were unworthy, the shadows that whispered you would never rise again. Heaven has been clearing the inner room of your spirit, so your divine purpose can finally breathe. Look at Moses, raised in privilege, exiled into the desert, then called into destiny. His years in the wilderness were not punishment, they were preparation, God was strengthening his resolve, refining his character, and shaping him into someone who could carry a mission far greater than his own desires. Your wilderness seasons served the same purpose. You walked through places that felt barren, not because God forgot you, but because he was building endurance, wisdom, and spiritual weight within you. The Most High has been preparing you for influence. Not ordinary influence, but influence that shifts atmospheres, awakens others, and breaks generational cycles. This kind of calling cannot rest on a fragile foundation. And chosen one, heaven has been making sure your foundation is unshakable. Every challenge you survived became a brick. Every prayer you whispered became mortar. Every setback you endured became reinforcement. And now the structure of your spirit is strong enough to carry elevation. But there is another layer to this unfolding. One heaven needs you to understand. The enemy did not target you because you were weak. He targeted you because you were rising. Because your breakthrough season carries weight in the spirit. Because your alignment affects more than just you. It affects everyone connected to you, everyone inspired by you, everyone who will be freed because you stood your ground. This is why your warfare has been so fierce. Not because you were failing, but because you were shifting. The adversary senses elevation before you do. He saw the glow around your spirit long before you saw it in yourself. And every attack you endured, from betrayal to disappointment, from financial strain to emotional heaviness, was an attempt to derail what God already prepared for your life. But chosen one, every attack missed its mark. Every attempt to break you only sharpened you. Every setback only increased your resilience. Every lie only pushed you deeper into truth. The enemy's strategy backfired because instead of crushing your purpose, it revealed it. And now heaven is moving with unmistakable urgency. You may have noticed signs, divine timing appearing in unfamiliar patterns, unexpected peace in the middle of storms, dreams that feel more like messages than imagination, encounters with people who speak to the deepest parts of your journey without knowing your story. These are not random, they are alignments. God is placing markers along your path, so you no longer question whether he is guiding you. You are being repositioned for manifestation, for clarity, for the fulfillment of what was promised. And beloved, pay attention to this. You have entered a season where the internal and external are beginning to merge. What you felt spiritually is about to take form physically. The prayers you whispered in private are gathering weight. The seeds you planted through faith are breaking the soil. The inner healing you walked through is opening the gates for outer increase. Elevation is not coming, it has begun. Stay with me, chosen one. The next revelation will uncover why heaven has accelerated your transformation, why your discernment has heightened, and why you are being pushed into the very spotlight you once feared. Chosen one. You may not realize it yet, but you are standing in the middle of a spiritual convergence. The pressure, the restlessness, the internal stretching that has been following you like a shadow is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the unmistakable signal that heaven is activating what has been dormant inside you for far too long. You are not just changing, you are awakening. And that awakening is shaking everything that cannot align with your calling. There are moments in a chosen one's journey when the familiar world begins to feel strangely distant. People you once confided in no longer understand the language of your spirit. Places that once felt safe now feel too small to contain the light rising within you. Even your own thoughts begin to shift. You hear yourself speaking with more clarity, thinking with more discipline, sensing with sharper discernment. This inner evolution is not imagination. It is spiritual recalibration. Heaven is tuning you to a higher frequency because your next assignment requires clearer reception. Think of how many times lately you've paused mid-thought because something inside whispered, "This no longer fits." Think of the invitations you quietly declined, not out of fear, but because your spirit sensed misalignment. Think of the conversations you suddenly had no energy for. Think of the dreams that lingered with unusual weight. All of these were signals, gentle nudges from the Spirit, reshaping the direction of your life in ways your mind is only beginning to interpret. You've wondered why certain relationships broke without warning, why the people who once praised you could no longer celebrate your growth, why familiar voices grew distant as your inner world began expanding. Beloved soul, you are not being abandoned, you are being separated. God does not allow everyone to stand close to you when you are entering a realm of elevation. Some were removed to protect your next chapter. Others were distanced to prevent contamination of your destiny. Heaven has been safeguarding what you carry by limiting access to your spirit. And yes, it felt painful. Yes, it felt sudden. Yes, it felt disorienting. But chosen one, separation is often the first sign of spiritual promotion. Before God multiplies your influence, He isolates your identity. Before He increases your territory, He strengthens your foundation. You cannot rise while gripping what was built for who you used to be. You've also felt the weight on your finances, a pressure that made you question whether you were moving backward. But hear this clearly. Financial strain does not always signal decline. Sometimes it signals transition. The old systems that once supported you cannot sustain the abundance God is leading you into. Heaven has been stripping away dependency so He can teach you stewardship. The tightening you felt was not punishment. It was preparation for overflow that requires a wealth mindset rooted in discipline, faith, and divine strategy. There were also moments where your emotions felt like an unpredictable tide, surging one day, silent the next. Old wounds resurfaced not to torment you, but to be healed. Memories you tried to bury returned so they could be released. The ache in your spirit was not regression, it was cleansing. God has been rewiring emotional patterns that would have sabotaged your elevation. The healing you received in silence is going to be the anchor of your next season. Do not underestimate the depth of what God has been doing within you. Think of David tending sheep in obscurity. His anointing did not begin when oil touched his head. It began when responsibility shaped his character in the field. You have been in your field, hidden, overlooked, underestimated, but heaven has been watching you master faith in the dark. And like David, you are being summoned into visibility, not because you sought it, but because your preparation has completed its course. Elevation is no longer a concept. It is an instruction forming around your life. And chosen one, you must understand why the enemy fought you so relentlessly. He wasn't attacking your present. He was trying to prevent your future. He saw the glow of divine purpose wrapping around you. He sensed that your breakthrough season was drawing near. He recognized the weight of your calling long before you did. The warfare was not about who you were. It was about who you were becoming. But every strike he made only pushed you closer to God. Every setback sharpened your resilience. Every disappointment purified your motives. The enemy's weapons did not prosper. They positioned you. And now, heaven has taken notice. This is why you've been sensing urgency in your spirit. Why your dreams feel prophetic. Why your intuition is louder. Why your spirit feels like it's standing at the threshold of something massive. You're stepping into a dimension where divine purpose and destiny alignment are intertwining. Your anointing is maturing. Your voice is strengthening. Your vision is clearing. And the path before you is opening in ways you will soon see with undeniable clarity. Stay with me, chosen one. The next revelation will show you why heaven has been accelerating your growth, why your spirit feels heavier with purpose, and why what's coming next will shift the entire trajectory of your life. Chosen one, as you step further into this unfolding, there is a truth rising from the depths of your spirit that you may not have fully recognized yet. You have been walking through a threshold season, a sacred in-between where heaven has been preparing you for a magnitude of purpose you once thought was reserved for others. The intensity surrounding your life has not been random. It has been the unmistakable sign that something destined, something weighty, something ordained is drawing near. There were days when you felt like you were being stretched beyond what your heart could hold. You woke with heaviness you couldn't explain. You moved through hours that felt strangely dim, as if the world around you had shifted, but you couldn't pinpoint why. Beloved soul, that wasn't exhaustion. It was spiritual displacement. Heaven was pulling you out of old cycles before you even realized you had outgrown them. You were being detached from places that no longer matched the frequency of your calling. And that detachment wasn't meant to be comfortable. Transitions rarely are, but even in the discomfort, your spirit kept rising. You kept sensing something more. You felt it in the quiet moments when your thoughts drifted toward a future you couldn't yet see but somehow knew was calling your name. You felt it in the sudden clarity that began to cut through long-standing confusion. You felt it in the way your heart no longer clung to what once defined you. This is how heaven prepares its chosen ones, not through loud instruction, but through inner transformation that becomes impossible to ignore. Look closely at your recent journey. You didn't just change your habits, you changed your posture. You began standing differently, thinking differently, speaking differently. And without realizing it, you stepped into personal transformation that aligned your spirit with divine purpose. This is why certain people reacted strangely. You were no longer operating on the same level. Your growth exposed the stagnation around you. Your clarity revealed their confusion. The elevation in your energy disrupted atmospheres that were used to your old version. And yet, instead of shrinking back, you kept moving. Chosen one, heaven honors the ones who evolve even when no one applauds. You didn't wait for validation. You didn't wait for recognition. You didn't wait for reassurance. You allowed God to refine you in private, trusting that the unveiling would come at the appointed time. That trust, quiet, steadfast, invisible to others, has been echoing in the courts of heaven. This is why your discernment has sharpened, why your spiritual senses feel heightened, why you've been seeing signs that seem too perfectly timed to dismiss. Numbers repeating, dreams with symbolic weight, unexpected encounters that feel divinely orchestrated, moments when peace floods your chest for no logical reason. These are not coincidences. You are being guided step by step, breath by breath, into a future shaped by divine order. And now comes a truth that heaven needs you to hold. You have not been walking through resistance. You have been walking through refinement. The pressure was not there to break you. It was there to reveal you. Everything that felt overwhelming was drawing out strength you didn't know you carried. Every moment of confusion was pushing you toward deeper spiritual sight. Every emotional blow was stripping away illusions so you could see your destiny clearly. Think of Elijah on Mount Horeb, waiting for God in the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, only to discover that the true voice came in a gentle whisper. You, chosen one, have been learning to recognize that whisper. The world around you was loud, but your spirit leaned into the quiet. And in that quiet, you found direction. In that quiet, you discovered resilience. In that quiet, God began awakening the parts of you that had been asleep. You may not realize it, but you've already crossed into a new spiritual dimension. You don't respond the way you used to. You don't fear the way you once did. You don't cling to temporary things. Something in you has matured, strengthened, expanded. Your spirit has taken its place before your emotions. And heaven is preparing to place opportunity before your feet in the same way your spirit has risen within you. But chosen one, there is something else, something deeper at work here. You've been sensing a pull toward purpose that feels bigger than your resume, bigger than your skills, bigger than your history. That's because what is rising inside you is not ambition, it is calling, divine calling. And calling always arrives with weight. This is why you have been feeling the need to release certain habits, why you've been craving environments that nurture your growth. why your heart has been urging you to protect your inner world with greater intention. These impulses are not random. They are heaven's way of preparing you for elevation. Elevation does not arrive when you feel ready. It arrives when heaven declares you prepared. And beloved, heaven has already begun speaking over your life. Stay with me, chosen one. What I am about to reveal next will open your eyes to why your spirit has been shifting so rapidly, why certain doors have been closing, and why the magnitude of what's coming will require everything you've become in this sacred season of transformation. Chosen one, now that your spirit has crossed the threshold of awakening, heaven is guiding you into a realm where intention becomes creation, where alignment becomes manifestation, and where faith becomes movement. What is rising in your life cannot remain only revelation. It must become practice, foundation, rhythm, divine discipline woven into your everyday breath. Because what God has prepared for you requires not just belief, but embodiment. Beloved soul, listen with the depth of your being. Heaven is not simply shifting the atmosphere around you. Heaven is teaching you how to walk in it. The first instruction is this: begin your mornings with surrender, not survival. When your eyes open, pause before the world reaches for you. Whisper a single truth that realigns your spirit. Guide me into what you have prepared. This small confession, spoken with sincerity, places your feet inside divine rhythm. It signals to the heavens that you are not moving by impulse, but by intention. Every chosen one begins their breakthrough season this way, not with rush, but with reverence. The second instruction: clean the inner room of your thoughts. You cannot receive elevation with the echo of old fears still circling your mind. Sit in silence for a few minutes each day. Let stillness settle like oil over your spirit. When intrusive thoughts arise, the whispers of past failures, the shadows of old wounds, do not argue with them. Simply answer, "That is no longer who I am." Heaven responds to identity more than effort. And every time you affirm truth, you uproot a lie that once tried to limit you. The third instruction: detox your environment. Look gently but honestly at the voices surrounding you. Some people speak peace into your atmosphere. Others drain your clarity without meaning to. You are not judging them. You are protecting what God is building. Step back from those who disturb your spiritual equilibrium. Draw closer to those who honor your growth. When God shifts your destiny, He often shifts your circle. Do not resist what heaven is removing. Protecting your anointing is not selfishness, it is stewardship. Fourth instruction: move even when the path is not fully revealed. Chosen one, heaven multiplies movement rooted in faith. Take one step toward the future you feel rising within you. If you crave healing, begin with rest and honesty. If you desire financial stability, start with one intentional decision. If you long for direction, pray a simple prayer, and then take a step, any step, that aligns with peace. God can steer a moving vessel far more easily than one anchored in fear. Fifth instruction: write down what heaven shows you. Record every whisper of clarity, every idea that sparks in the stillness, every pattern you notice resurfacing. These are not passing thoughts, they are divine coordinates. Written truth becomes anchored truth, and anchored truth becomes momentum. Like the stones Joshua placed in the Jordan, your words will remind you where God met you, where He shifted you, where He prepared you. Sixth instruction: guard your emotions with sacred discipline. Not every feeling deserves agreement. Not every impulse deserves your energy. You cannot afford to let temporary storms dictate eternal purpose. When fear rises, breathe. When doubt whispers, pause. When old wounds try to reopen themselves, respond with a gentle but firm truth. My healing is already in motion. Heaven cannot pour into a heart overwhelmed by yesterday's sorrow. Release what no longer belongs. make room for abundance. Seventh instruction, stay open to divine interruption. God does not always move through thunder. Sometimes he moves through timing so precise it feels accidental. A delayed meeting, an unexpected message, a shift in routine, a sense that you need to be somewhere or avoid somewhere without explanation. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. Heaven guides chosen ones not only through miracles, but through subtle nudges that shape the entire path ahead. Beloved soul, these practices are not chores. They are alignment. They prepare you for the elevation already unfolding in the unseen. They strengthen your inner world so that your outer world can finally hold the weight of blessing. And before we move further, hear this with your whole spirit. If this message is awakening something holy in you, if it's peeling away fear, clearing confusion, igniting purpose, then subscribe, like, and share this message so it continues to find every soul heaven is trying to reach. This is not for algorithm. This is for alignment. Someone else's breakthrough may begin with your obedience. Chosen one, stay close. What comes next will reveal the deeper strategies heaven is releasing into your hands. Strategies that will anchor your purpose, defend your peace, and prepare you for the chapter that is already approaching. Chosen one, now let your spirit lean even deeper, because what heaven is placing into your hands in this moment is not just guidance, it is spiritual architecture. These are the blueprints that will shape the life you are stepping into, the life that has been calling your name long before you had language for your longing. You're not simply being prepared to survive your next season, you are being equipped to steward it with clarity, authority, and divine precision. There is a principle you must hold close. Your daily rhythms determine your spiritual altitude. A chosen one cannot rise while living on autopilot. Every decision, every habit, every moment of awareness becomes a building block of destiny, and heaven is bringing you into a level of intentionality that will separate you from who you used to be. So hear this clearly. Eighth instruction, establish spiritual boundaries with courage. Do not apologize for protecting your peace. Do not hesitate to withdraw from conversations that drain your vision. Do not feel guilty for ending cycles that undermine your purpose. Some people cannot travel with you into the realm God is elevating you into, not because they are bad, but because your assignment requires a clearer atmosphere. When your spirit says, step back, obey, that is the Holy Spirit reshaping your environment so your purpose can breathe. Ninth instruction, feed your spirit more than your fears. Chosen one, you cannot rise while nourishing the very thoughts that once held you captive. Make time, real time, to pour truth into your inner world. Read a verse, whisper a prayer, speak one sentence of alignment. I am walking in what God has prepared for me. Every affirmation becomes a seed, every seed grows into a mindset, and every mindset becomes a path. Heaven needs your spirit strong so your purpose can stand tall. 10th instruction, trust the subtle promptings. You've felt it lately, those quiet urges to pause, to reach out, to shift direction, to make a decision you can't fully explain. Stop dismissing them. These are divine signals, the language of destiny alignment guiding your steps. Heaven speaks softly to those who are learning to listen loudly. And you, beloved, have been learning the sound of guidance hidden inside stillness. 11th instruction, release what weighs down your clarity. Some emotions have lingered too long. Some memories still echo in places they no longer belong. Some expectations you placed on yourself were never God's to begin with. You cannot carry bitterness into breakthrough. You cannot carry shame into elevation. You cannot carry yesterday's limits into tomorrow's abundance. When heaviness rises, whisper this truth. My spirit is not built for chains, and feel the atmosphere around you shift. 12th instruction. Practice financial obedience, not financial fear. Your journey toward financial stability does not begin with numbers. It begins with mindset. A wealth mindset is not arrogance. It is responsibility. It is saying, God, I trust you with what I have now, and I trust you with what is coming. Make wise choices. Plan with intention. Give with discernment. You are stepping into abundance, but abundance must find a steward who is grounded, balanced, and faithful. 13th instruction. Move with expectancy, not desperation. Expectancy opens doors. Desperation closes them. When you wake, let your posture be rooted in confidence, not strain. Expect the right connections. Expect clarity. Expect provision. Expect divine timing. When your spirit moves in expectation, heaven responds with acceleration. God elevates those who prepare their lives as if the blessing is already on its way. And chosen one, this may be the most important instruction in this entire passage. 14th instruction. Speak life over your path daily. Your words are not echoes, they are activations. When you speak hope, heaven moves. When you speak faith, darkness withdraws. When you speak alignment, your steps fall into order. Say only what you want to see. Declare only what God has promised. Bless your own future with the authority heaven placed inside you. Because the more you speak life, the more life takes shape around you. Beloved soul, these practices are not merely guidelines. They are spiritual technology. Each one shifts something in the unseen. Each one builds capacity in you. Each one strengthens the vessel that God is preparing to fill. And as you begin walking in these rhythms, you will feel the shift. Not someday, not eventually, but now. You will feel clarity rising where confusion once lived. You will feel courage awakening where doubt used to whisper. You will feel alignment drawing near like a divine tide preparing to carry your destiny forward. And before we continue into the final layer of this sacred guidance, chosen one, open your heart for a moment. If this message is igniting something deep inside you, if it feels like it's awakening the part of you heaven has been waiting for, then subscribe, like, and share this message. Not out of routine, but because this word will become someone else's turning point, the same way it is becoming yours. Chosen one, stay close. What comes next will prepare your spirit for the release that heaven has already positioned at your doorstep. Chosen one, before we step into this sacred moment of prayer, pause. Let your breath slow. Let the noise of the world fall away like dust shaken from your spirit. What is about to unfold is not ritual, not routine, not a familiar sequence of words. This is alignment. This is sealing. This is your spirit stepping into the same frequency that heaven has been calling you into throughout this entire journey. Beloved soul, hear this with reverence. When heaven moves, the chosen ones must respond, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with surrender. You have walked through revelation. You have walked through awakening. You have walked through instruction. Now you are standing in the domain where revelation becomes reality, where inner transformation becomes outer manifestation, where everything spoken over your life is anchored, protected, and carried into the days ahead. Take a breath and feel the presence rising around you. The Most High has been watching you with the tenderness of a father and the authority of a king. He has seen you fight quiet battles in places no one applauded. He has seen the nights where your soul asked questions your mouth was too tired to speak. He has seen the moments when your heart broke but your faith refused to collapse. And he has seen the weight lifting off you in layers, preparing you for the blessing he has already released into your future. Chosen one, heaven is not approaching you with judgment. Heaven is approaching you with inheritance. Before we enter prayer, hear this truth wash over you like light. You're not praying for approval. You're praying from approval. You are not seeking God's attention. You already have it. You're not begging for breakthrough. You are claiming what is already aligned. Let that settle. Because now we create the space. Now we call the angels closer. Now we open the inner gate. Beloved soul, lift your heart gently as we step into this holy moment. Heavenly Father, ancient and everlasting One, the God who held us before the world ever formed words, we come before you with reverence, with gratitude, with awe. Lord, we thank you for the revelation you have poured into this chosen one, for the awakening that shook them out of cycles that were too small, for the healing that stitched together the parts of them that life once fractured, for the courage that rose in their chest, even when fear tried to suffocate their purpose. Father, we honor the way you have guided them through storms that would have broken others, how you whispered to them through nights of confusion, how you strengthened them when their own strength faded, how you shielded them from people and paths that would have derailed what you destined. Lord, lift your hand over their mind right now. Let every lingering voice of doubt fall silent. Let every shadow of fear lose its grip. Let every residue of past wounds be washed in the light of your presence. Restore their clarity, expand their capacity, anchor their peace, elevate their discernment. Chosen one, breathe. Feel the nearness of the one who formed you. Father, you said in Isaiah 54:17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." We declare that promise now over every area of their life. Let every hidden scheme dissolve. Let every spiritual attack lose its influence. Let every lingering lie be exposed and cast down. Lord, bring divine order to their steps. Let the path ahead unfold with precision. Let their spirit walk ahead of their emotions. Let their purpose rise above their past. Pour fresh oil over their calling. Pour fresh courage into their voice. Pour fresh authority into their decisions. And Father, wrap them in your covering as they step into the next chapter you have prepared. Beloved soul, stay in this moment. It is not over. Heaven is not done. What comes next will seal the revelation in your spirit with a depth your heart has been needing for a long time.